Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting up more Genestealers. 10 Genestealers that I got from some third party, not GW. And I have to assemble them this time. So, this will almost put me at 2,000 points, finally. So here are all the paints and stuff that I used. And some that I don't showcase, mostly the bases and stuff. I assembled them, so I wanted to try to, I don't know how to get, well, my usual motto, the highest quality with the least amount of effort. So I assembled the heads to the bodies, and the arms and legs were all separate, which was very difficult to keep them organized. Some of their limbs swapped around a little bit. It took me a while to figure them out at the end. And I then primed them all with this Games Workshop Mechanica Standard Gray, and which was probably a waste of time. And then eventually I got into painting. So with Pallid Witch Flesh and Bold Titanium White from Pro Acryl, we're going to do the base coating. So I temporarily put their arms into their main body so I could keep the lighting done right. So with Pallid Witch Flesh, I airbrushed this down like a 45-degree-ish angle to create the light and dark values. And then once that was done, I took a dry brush and then dry brushed all over to get the edge highlights. I don't know what it is, but the dry brushes always seem to go bad so fast for me. But I'm finding that these little makeup brushes seem to be, their results are more finer, more better-ish, depending on the brush size and the model, but they take a long time to apply any paint. Alright, with Cantor Blue, Black Templar's Contrast, and Lamian Medium, we're going to paint the largest part of the models first, which is the body. However, I will point out that later, I bring Pro Acryl White and Drakenhof Nightshade in. So basically the idea is Black Templar's Contrast, when it's diluted fully, is actually a blue. It's a very dark blue. And so the idea is I really wanted a very dark blue first, because we're going to be doing oil paints later. I use oil paints on most of my scrub troops and stuff because it elevates the basic dudes up a bit. So the idea was to take Cantor Blue, mix in a little bit of Black Templar's Contrast paint to darken it, and then add some Lamian Medium and water to turn into a wash. And the problem is, well, it worked great, but the problem is it worked too well. It was too strong and basically got rid of almost all the underbrushing, coating, and stuff we've done. And so the Black Templar's Contrast paint, even when it was barely there, very diluted, was still very strong and ruined all that I did before. So I went back with Pro Acryl White and with the makeup brush, re-dry brushed the bodies, essentially. This took a while. This took a long time. Once that was done, I then went back with Drakenhof Nightshade Pure and applied it all over the body to bluify it, to turn the white highlights into a light blue highlight naturally, and to fix all the highlights. Alright, with Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White, this is just a really good white paint that applies on perfectly well, and it's very pigmented. Because GW cannot sell a white paint that works. Because of some legal reasons, because they sell to children, and a good white paint requires like alcohol in it or something. That's the reason I was given. So basically, what I did was I highlighted the faces, the sharp edges of their faces for the future. You can skip this step. It didn't really matter in the future at all, because I re-highlighted the stuff with a highlighted color specifically for their final appearance, and so this part was not needed. But what was needed was so the pink part of the flesh between their joints and on their arms and stuff, I filled that in with the white because I need to redo the background, and for what I do next, I need it to be white. Alright, with Magos Purple Pure, we're not going to dilute it with anything. We're going to take it and we're going to apply this all over the white parts. The hands and the in between the joints and stuff like this. And it will perfectly do the pink thing that is between their joints and stuff on Genestealers. Yeah. Their hands, because they were pre-done, already have all their details picked out, and it's so-so. But yeah, quick, easy, done. Alright, now for oil paints with lamp black, magenta, and this Gamsol mineral spirits. It's just mineral spirits. Gamsol is just the brand. So oil paints with mineral spirits. We're going to do the oil washes. Now I'm going to mix mostly purple with a little bit of black because the black is very strong, so we don't need that much, and it's going to darken it very heavily. We're basically going to create the shadows for the model. And then we add in the mineral spirits to dilute it. And we're going to apply it all over the model, onto the blue and the purple. And once that's done, we're going to take a makeup sponge and wipe everything. I didn't assemble the models for this purpose, so I could easily wipe every aspect of them and not have to force myself into every weird nook and cranny for their strange proportioned and twisted bodies. And then once I've done that, I then added way more mineral spirits, diluted what was left of the paint way more, and then added a second layer of it very diluted. And so essentially what I did was a combination of like applying the wash and sanding on the upper areas because essentially I applied it a very light coat all over to sort of rebalance where the oils were and to like rub and sand the upper raised areas where the light is to remove more of the oil paints to make it brighter. Yeah, and that was how I did all the oil paints. Now, you don't have to do this step. I mean, it's pretty much done, but like this is just for me to fix a few things that may not be as good. So I'm going to take Emperor's Children, and I'm going to water it down just a bit, and then redo some of the details on the hands and feet, because some areas are not as bright or as defined. So this is just me redoing the edges, highlights, filling in some places that the colors are uneven, stuff like that. And remember what I said earlier when I was highlighting the faces, their facial bones and stuff, and it wasn't needed? It's because this color would cover it and it basically made it useless. So, man, Christmas vacation really made me forget how to paint because I've been stumbling all over my decisions. But this took a while to do. For every single hand, they have 4 hands each. It's ridiculous. And feet. Now with Mago's Purple, since the shadowy effects or the highlights in the face did not turn out too well, I'm going to add shadow. I'm going to take pure Mago's Purple and carefully just scrape it onto the bottom half of their heads and stuff just to create shadow, and on their facial chins and stuff. Yeah. Alright, Nagaroth Knight. We are going to keep this very simple. We're going to just take this and apply this on all their fingernails and toenails. That's it. Oh, and one guy, his tip of his tongue. Alright, with Cadian Flesh Tone, Guilliman Flesh, Balor Brown, and Euro Yellow, we're going to do the faces. Now, this requires a good brush. Good sable brush. Yeah, Amazon sells some cheap ones. Basically, Cadian Flesh Tone first goes all over their tongues. Then with Guilliman Flesh, we're going to apply it all over their tongues, inside their mouth, and on their teeth. Once that's done, we're going to go back with Cadian Flesh Tone, and basically we're going to paint the edges of their tongue, do horizontal slashes in the middle of their tongue. We're going to paint the tip of their tongue all around the tip to make it shine, and horizontal slashes all over the bottom of their tongue. That's it. Then we're going to take Balor Brown, and with a fine brush, we're just going to paint each of their teeth. The Guilliman Flesh will create a nice shadow that'll be at the background of the teeth to make each individual tooth stand out. Then with Euro Yellow, a fine brush, we make sure that it is not a wash, but liquid enough that it can just fall off the brush with a touch, and we just apply it into their eye sockets. Alright, pretty much almost done, so all we have left is varnishing. So with AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish, Anti-Shine Matte Varnish, we mix these 1-to-1 and with 1 part water, and it creates this effect of looking like it was brushed on. Like there's this satin varnish thing, and this works pretty well. Yeah, and I just apply it all over, and it creates a nice little subtle shine to the flesh and models. Works great with the oils and stuff. However, I forgot to get footage of that because I just sped through this. Also, I assembled the bodies together. Reason I did that off camera, the models are done. I assembled them off camera because It took me a couple tries to figure out how the legs fit into the sockets, and it was so difficult to do with their arms in the way and stuff. Yeah, so sorry I skipped that, and also skipped their bases. Just basic, just some basic bases and stuff that go with the theme of my army and stuff. And yeah, they're pretty much done. It's just simple, straightforward stuff. I made this way more complicated than possible, made many mistakes that made me backtrack and have to redo. But since the end, let me actually go over. So I haven't done this extensively in a while, but I'm going to go over what I essentially did wrong, what I could have done to make things better. Alright, first things first. From the priming, I screwed up. So, priming, honestly, I would have primed these guys just white. Or an off-white, if I could. As white as I could. Because I was going to use washes and oil washes, the shadows and depth would be there easily, all over the model. So starting from a white base would allow me to easily, I wouldn't have had to have dry brushed or do the airbrushing to get the light values. I would have applied the washes, they would have flown into the recesses, applied the oil washes, and that would create the shadow. Then I can apply some more oil washes, and I don't have to wipe towards their bottom or where the shadows are. That way, it'll be darker there than the upper areas, so that would have saved me a lot of time. The second thing is, if I did that, I wouldn't have had to re-highlight many areas of their hands and stuff. I probably also would have done much lighter oil washes from the beginning. That would have sped things up a lot more. Yeah, and apart from that, that's pretty much it. It's fairly a straightforward model. Maybe I could have just primed them white and then dry brushed them the pure white, and then just gone from there. But yeah, they would have turned out pretty well and much faster too. Oil paints are always good for elevating basic scrub troops that have just so many details and stuff. It just takes care of itself. And also it has a certain look to it after the oils have cured on the model that looks pretty good. Their faces are fine, their bodies are fine. It probably would have been better if I just assembled them fully, because it took a long time to just sort through all the models constantly. Maybe the dry brushing could have been at the very beginning, and then I assemble them fully after the base, after primed and after dry brushing, and then just assembling them all would have made things way easier. And yeah, I tried to do a speed painting thing, but I made so many wrong choices. I made a lot of wrong choices when I last painted Genestealers. Like, I keep failing at painting Genestealers. I keep making bad decisions on the overall process to paint them. Last time it was the wrong paints. This time it was the wrong processes and too many steps. But they're done now, and after I've done all this, and after the newest points changes again, I have now done it and calculated that I have 1,925 points. I am still 75 points down, even with buying character upgrades for my Primus, my Abominant, and Patriarch. I still am 75 points down from a 2K army. This game sucks. This game is so difficult. I have been trying to just chase 2,000 points for so long. They keep... Like maybe for people who have armies done, they're like, fine, oh, I can bring more things in my collection. I'm just trying to get an army, and the goalpost keeps moving faster than I can paint. So what is that? Clamavis, 75 points. What am I going to do with 75 points? Clamavis, that vehicle, that spotter one, Achilles Ridge Runner, that's it. Could have one of those. Could drop my Nexus, which is now worthless. Oh yeah, move a spawn token, which no longer matters because they changed the entire army rule. My brand new Genestealer Cult rulebook is practically worthless. I have to keep finding out what is current. The GSC have gone through so many rules changes in such a short period of time, it's ridiculous. And meta changes and stuff. I bought my army with it having a certain like meta or like gaming. Like the Nexus was, when I got him, was super strategic and important. Now he's a 50-point paperweight, which will allow me to use a free go to ground once per turn. Whatever. It's ridiculous. So, well, anyway, more to come. I'm switching gears. I'm actually going to paint something I said I might have do way later down the line. Well, it's now down the line. Soon enough, are going to Warhammer Fantasy. We'll be painting a gigantic rat in the next episode. No idea when that is. So, like the video if you like the video, share if you want to share, comment if you want to comment, and more to come. Bye.